What's up, guys? I'm JJ,
I'm Javier.
and this is PM Football. We have finally made it. The draft is 2 days away, and we will be doing our mock draft 5.0, the final mock draft in our series.
Absolutely. I'm very excited. There's no better time of the year than draft week. This is when we start to hear a lot of rumors, a lot of things are going around. Some are real, some are fake. We are basing this mock on not what we would do, what we think will happen Thursday night.
This is the accurate mock draft, and this is what will happen. So if you are going to place bets on this, make sure you're watching this because this is what's going to happen.
This is what will happen Thursday night.
Starting at number 1.
With the first overall pick, the Tennessee Titans take Cam Ward. It's no surprise to anyone. It's been like this for a while. Cam Ward goes 1.
Yep. Moving on to number 2. This has been a late developing story. Over the past few weeks, it's really come to fruition. It looks like the Cleveland Browns with the second overall pick are going to be selecting Travis Hunter out of Colorado with the intention of him playing receiver and a little bit of defense. They've been saying he's going to major in offense and minor in defense, which makes sense.
Absolutely. At number 3, we have the New York Giants. This is a potential trading spot. We've heard over the last couple of days that either 2 or 3 could be traded. I think if it's one or the other, I think it's most likely the New York Giants at 3. But for this mock draft, we have them staying at number 3 and taking Abdul Carter, edge out of Penn State. It just makes the most sense as of now, 2 nights from the draft.
He's the number 1 player on our board, so you have to take him at 3. Now, the interesting thing is Kayvon Thibodeau might be on the move if that pick does go through. So be on the lookout for a Kayvon Thibodeau trade potentially.
Absolutely.
Moving on to number 4, we got the New England Patriots, another spot that could potentially be a trade back spot. We're going to stick here at number 4, though. Throughout this entire process, it's been said that they love Will Campbell. So with the 4th pick, we're going to have the New England Patriots selecting offensive tackle Will Campbell out of LSU.
Absolutely. Now, this is where the draft kind of takes a turn, shakes up a little bit. No one really knows what Jacksonville's doing at 5. It seemed like it was going to be Mason Graham for a long while. Over the last few days, it seems like Jacksonville could go a completely different direction. With that being said, with the 5th overall pick, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State.
Maybe surprising to most people.
Yes, Liam Cohen was the OC at Tampa Bay. They had a nice little 1-2 punch with Bucky Irvin and Rachaad White. I could see them trying to replicate that with Ashton Jeanty and ETN back there. I think it makes sense, honestly, with the history of the coaching staff, seeing where the NFL is starting to trend to. We see the Lions are doing it. They have the best rushing attack in the entire league. We see teams try to adopt this 1-2 attack. I think Jacksonville will try to duplicate that here and take Ashton number 5.
And why not take the best offensive talent on the board if you were trying to fix that offense?
For sure.
Moving on to number 6, we got the Vegas Raiders, and their pick is gone now. That Ashton Jeanty's been their guy for the past couple weeks. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I think it's best case scenario because I don't think they ever should have drafted Ashton Jeanty. So I'm going to do what they should have done and what I think they will do now. At number 6, I'm going to have the Raiders selecting Armand Membu, offensive tackle out of Missouri. They have a glaring need at right tackle. As cool as Jeanty would have been, they wouldn't have had that right side to be able to run behind, even if they were to draft a guy like that.
We've said for months, and people have been saying forever now, if you build championship teams through the trenches, the Raiders are kind of turning a page with all the things they've done. Hire a new coach. You have Tom Brady in the building now. You
bring in a new quarterback.
Smith. Exactly. Turn a page, build through the trenches. I think Membu's a really great pick here.
Yep.
At number 7, we have the New York Jets. We have them addressing the trenches as well. We're making them take best player available that's in the trenches to us. With the 7th overall pick, we have the Jets taking Mason Graham, D tackle out of Michigan. For a while now, it looked like he was going number 5 at Jacksonville.
So kind of seeming like a smokescreen at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Because even if it's not Jeanty at 5, it's pretty much looking like they're going to take an offensive skill position player right now.
Absolutely. So I think for a guy that was projected to be number 5 for a while now, to get him at 7, that seems like pretty good value to me.
Not a crazy elite level prospect in my opinion.
No.
Very steady player. Will always do the right thing for the most part. Just a very solid player to get.
Again, this is what we think they will do, not necessarily what we would do.
Moving on to number 8, we have the Carolina Panthers. This one's been chalk for a couple months at this point, I would say. We're going to have them selecting Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. Just super versatile player. Like, you can play him anywhere on that defense, and I think that's what they need on that defense. They don't have any elite level players on that defense. And I think Jalen Walker gives them that opportunity to get a guy like that.
For sure. At number 9, we have our first trade. We have the Broncos trading up all the way from 20 to get to number 9, trade with the Saints. The Broncos would receive the 9th overall pick. The Saints would receive the 20th overall pick, the 191st overall pick, which is a 6th-rounder this year, in next year's first round. With that being said, with the 9th overall pick, the Denver Broncos are taking Tet McMillan, receiver out of Arizona.
Does it seem like a lot? Maybe.
Yeah.
But you were getting that elite star
Yeah.
on your team that you were desperately lacking on offense. I would give up a first rounder for next year for that, especially when you already have the elite defense you have.
Absolutely. Not only that, you want to ensure that your quarterback doesn't take a sophomore slump. Bo Nix, I would say, overachieved last year. He really surpassed a lot of people's expectations, including mine. Just make sure he doesn't have that sophomore slump. You almost guarantee that we're getting a talent like Tet McMillan.
Yeah, just a big body receiver that can make life easier for a quarterback.
Absolutely, and there's already been reports that the Broncos are trying to be aggressive and trade up in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's crazy at all to have them be aggressive here and go get the guy they're in love with when the reports are saying that is what they're trying to do.
Exactly. And then we move on to number 10. We have the Chicago Bears. They already addressed offensive line heavily during the offseason at the guard position. At number 10, we're going to have the Chicago Bears selecting Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas. Like I just mentioned, they went in interior offensive line during free agency. This is where you get that solidified tackle in the draft. We are both very high on Kelvin Banks still, even though to the public, or most of the media, to be honest, like he's fallen a lot.
He has, yeah.
But I feel like he's also picked up some steam late into the process because people kind of just forgot about him almost.
Like, oh, yeah, this guy was pretty solid.
Yeah. So I think this is a home run pick for the Bears. Might solidify your left tackle position for the next 10 years.
Absolutely. At number 11, we have the San Francisco 49ers. They lost a lot of DBs this year. We're going to give them the best DB available. With the 11th overall pick, we have the San Francisco 49ers taking Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan. Like I said, they lost a lot of DBs. Go get a bona fide superstar here at number 11, and you do that with Will Johnson.
Will Johnson could easily be a top 5 pick in this draft if he wasn't injured last year and just played the same way he did in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Very easily could be in the conversation of top 5, in my opinion.
I agree.
Moving on to number 12, we got the Dallas Cowboys. Now, for months, everyone has been saying, go get them a skill position player. And then Zach Martin retires. It's like, okay, we kind of need offensive line now. Best player on the board offensively, in my opinion, and I think in your opinion as well. We're going to have them selecting Omarion Hampton, running back out of UNC. Last year, my bold prediction were the Cowboys were going to suck. And why did I say that?
They were very one-dimensional.
You need a running back.
Yes.
Like, I get they bring in Javonte Williams. Cool. Whatever. Whatever that means.
I don't know what that's going to do.
You bring in Miles Sanders. Sure.
Basically the same thing, just older.
Omarion Hampton can come in and change the dynamic of that offense, of what they're desperately missing.
Absolutely. It seems like for a while now they haven't had a true superstar running back there, like since prime Zeke, and Zeke lost his prime a while ago.
And to be fair, I think they could go O-line still.
Yeah.
But
I think
with the run that just went, I think Kelvin would be the guy that I would kind of peg them for.
I think regardless they're going offensively, whether that be skill position through the trenches, I think they're addressing the offense at number 12.
Yeah.
It just happens to be Omarion Hampton here because, like you said, they were so one-dimensional last year. They need to do something to kind of help explode that offense. At 13, we have a trade here. We have the Cincinnati Bengals trading from 17 to number 13. The Bengals receive the 13th overall pick. The Dolphins receive the 17th overall pick, the 81st overall pick, which is a third rounder, and next year's third as well. That being said, with the 13th overall pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Mike Green, edge out of Marshall. He's been rising up boards a lot. Super talented player, 17.5 sacks. There's just so much production he had in college and so much potential. I think it's very smart for the Bengals to go up and trade for a guy like that when their defense was just atrocious last year.
And you might ask why the trade up. Just look at the teams that are in front of
Very
them
good
at
point.
17. You got the Falcons and the Cardinals, who are very likely to draft edge position as well.
Absolutely.
Be aggressive. You just spent all that money on the offense. Spend a little bit of draft capital to move up and get an elite level prospect.
Absolutely.
Moving on to number 14 is the Indianapolis Colts. Now, for months, this pick has been Tyler Warren. I think that was a smokescreen as well. I understand the want of a tight end. I don't see a guy like that going in the top 14 picks. So with the 14th pick, we're going to have them selecting Jahdae Barron, corner out of Texas. I think right now he is the best defensive player still on the board, and it addresses a need for them. They need a corner. I get they attacked a little bit in free agency, but bringing in a prospect like Jahdae can just bring that secondary to another level, especially with a Kenny. They still have Kenny Moore, right?
I can't remember if he's still with them or he just straight up left.
But regardless, if he is there still, he can learn from a guy like that who is one of the best slots in the game. And even still, like,
Yeah, he's still with the Colts.
that's what I'm saying. Like, he could learn from Kenny Moore, one of the best slots in the game. And I'm not saying he can only play slot. You could start him outside. I think he's very
versatile, and that's why you get a guy like him at 14, because of how versatile he is and how talented he is throughout all the positions he could play at corner.
for sure.
At 15, we have the Atlanta Falcons. For years now, people have been pleading for Atlanta to get an edge. That's exactly what we make them do here with the 15th overall pick. We have the Atlanta Falcons taking Michael Williams, edge out of Georgia. You could argue Michael could be a top 10 pick.
Yes.
He could go between 5 and 10. There's a real legitimate argue for that. Super talented, super young. I didn't realize he's only 21 years old. So much potential there, so young. Why not build your defense around a guy with that kind of talent, that kind of raw athleticism?
Not only was this guy playing out of position last year for Georgia, he was basically playing on one foot.
Yeah.
He was injured the entire season and still had the production he had. Not the production you were hoping to see from him, but out of position, first of all. Secondly, was injured.
Yeah.
And he still did what he did.
Yeah.
I'm taking a swing on that.
Absolutely.
Moving on to number 16, we have the Arizona Cardinals. With the 16th pick, we're going to have them selecting Shamar Stewart, defensive end out of Texas A&M. The Cardinals need desperately to find an edge rusher that can get to the quarterback. And I know that this pick doesn't seem like that's the right thing because of the production issues that people have with Shamar, but the upside of a guy like that is so valuable. Like, he has every single tool you can ask for in an edge rusher. He's quick, strong, athletic. Like, there isn't really anything he can do besides the production. Like, that's the only concern with him, really. Outside of that, do you really think there's much of a concern?
No,
of him?
I mean, the biggest concern is the production. And like you said, Arizona has no one on the edge that is a true threat. You have to take a swing here with a guy that shows athleticism like Shamar does. You have to take a swing at that. And that's exactly what they do at 16.
Yep.
At 17, we have the Miami Dolphins. They need to go O-line here. I don't know how much longer he has in this league, dude. He cannot keep taking the hits he's taken. With the 17th overall pick, we have the Miami Dolphins taking Josh Simmons, tackle of Ohio State. Could potentially go a lot higher if he wasn't injured
For sure.
throughout the year. I think this is good value for Miami, who desperately needs help on the offensive line.
They could go anywhere on the offensive line, and it's a good pick. Now, like you said, take a risk on a tackle that had a ton of potential before the injury and still has a ton of potential. So, like, again, I love this pick for them. Number 18, we got the Seattle Seahawks. And with that pick, we're going to have them selecting Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama. Pretty similar to how the Dolphins are set up right now. Like, they need offensive linemen. They have two tackles that their rookie deals are coming up on. I think they could maybe go tackle here, but Tyler Booker to us, and still is, again, a lot of people aren't as big or as high on him as we are. We still feel like he is the best offensive lineman on this board.
Not only that, I feel like this past week I see him slowly creeping up boards again. So obviously people doing these mocks are starting to realize, hey, this guy is a stud. Like, he could really be something in the league. So I think this is really great here for Seattle to get.
And on top of the fact, getting an offensive lineman that is a stud changes that entire
Absolutely.
offensive line.
Absolutely.
Just that one guy. You could have mediocrity at other spots.
You need that one guy that changes that mentality on that line, and that's what he can be.
Yes.
At 19, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I feel like they're most likely to go defense here. With that being said, with the 19th overall pick, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. Have him learn from a veteran like Levante David, I think will be really great for him and his development. And to us, he is the best defender available, and that's available in this class right now.
Yeah.
So at 19, we have the Bucs taking Jahad Campbell.
There are rumors he might slide, and that was from the injury.
Yeah.
There was a video that came out this morning of him already running on a treadmill after suffering a torn labrum. I learned what a labrum was this morning.
I
I'm not
still
gonna
don't
lie.
know.
It's your hip. I had no idea.
If you say so.
It's your hip,
I
like,
believe you.
flexor mobility thing. I'm not completely sure. They showed a picture of it.
I wasn't even smart enough to pass the class. You need to take anatomy.
Yeah. Labrum is somewhere in this general area is all I know now.
Show me again.
Right here.
Turn around and do that again.
No.
Sorry.
But because of the injury, he may slide. But like I was saying, there's a video that came out of him this morning running on a treadmill.
Yeah.
Pretty promising.
Yeah.
Is it just running on a treadmill?
At least personally, the injury never seemed too severe that it concerned me personally. I get like when you're working for an NFL team, like you have to be aware of that stuff. But to me personally, like the talent was
Way
just,
outweighed the injury.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I
I think
100%
this would
agree.
be really good for Tampa.
Moving on to number 20. This was previously owned by the Broncos. The Saints traded back and now own this pick. With this pick, we're going to have the Saints selecting Shedeur Sanders. The fall ends. Do I still think this could potentially be Jackson Dart? Yes. But when you really think about it, the Jackson Dart rise was so late that it just would be so strange that they take a quarterback that has so many question marks around him instead of taking the guy that even before the season started, they were getting talks about being a first-round pick.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Shedeur's a finished product by any mean, or I'll be honest with you, even a good prospect at all. I'm not a fan of him, but the Saints need a guy that can come in and play right now, and that's what Shedeur is.
I mean, this is the story of the entire draft this year. Where's Shedeur gonna go? How many QBs get taken in front of him? Like that is what everyone will be looking out for in a couple days on Thursday. It just makes the most sense. You trade back from 9 to 20, knowing worst case scenario you're getting either Shedeur, Dart, or Milroe. Yeah. Not saying they like all three or even one of them, but it just makes the most sense. Trade back, get the capital, and you end up getting the guy that a lot of people think you should get at 9 anyway.
And again, let's say that they do only like Shedeur. Mm-hmm. So in this case, he is there. They take him. Shedeur goes before that. Cool, you gain a first-round pick next year. So now you have 2, and you still get whatever the best player on your board is because of how bad of a team they are at this moment. They need to address so many things that they can't really go wrong with whoever they pick.
For sure.
As long as it's a good player.
I mean, I thought that was a given, yeah.
As long as it's not like, oh, well, we're going to take Benjamin Morrison at 20. I'm not saying, all right, Benjamin Morrison, I hope you're not watching this. I love you as a prospect. I think you're really cool.
He's really good, yeah.
You just, at 20.
Not a lot of people have you going as early as 20.
At 20, I would be shocked.
I think a lot of people would, but.
Wasn't a dig at you. It was just
personally,
more
I wouldn't be, maybe not for the Saints necessarily, but like if a team were to take him in the 20s, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all we're trying to say.
Yes.
At 21, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shedeur's gone. The next biggest question, what will the Steelers do at quarterback? We have them taking one here. With the 21st overall pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers take Jalen Milroe, quarterback out of Alabama. At this point, it's between him and Dart. It seems like the team that has been in contact the most with Milroe has been Pittsburgh.
Yes.
It seems like out of everything that's coming out, the talks, the meetings have been very positive. Therefore, we have him going 21 to Pittsburgh.
I just think with the success that they had of a guy last year with Justin Fields, I'm not saying it was perfect by any means.
We don't like him, but going 4-2, which is what he went, it's not bad. That's pretty solid.
What we're trying to say is you can do similar things with a guy like Milroe.
Yes.
If not even better with the running ability. And I'm not saying Justin Fields can't do it, but I would say Milroe might be a better runner than Fields.
I don't think that's an out-of-pocket thing to say.
I think they're very similar, and I think they can do some of the similar things they did with Fields last year. That's why I like that fit more than a dart.
For sure.
Moving on to number 22, we have the LA Chargers. With this pick, we're going to have them selecting Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. Tyler Warren is still on the board.
Yeah.
Kind of a shocker. Mm-hmm. But if any team were to take a tight end and it were to be Loveland over Warren, I feel like the Chargers would be that team.
Absolutely.
With the Michigan connection and just how well he really played for him when he was there. Mm-hmm. He just fit his offense so well. He's an underrated blocker, in my opinion, too. Like, he isn't really the guy that you expect to be a good blocker, but when he's asked to do it, he could still do it. Not at a high, super high level, but a good enough level. He played on a Michigan team who literally runs the ball almost 80% of the time. So you have to kind of know what you're doing blocking-wise.
Absolutely. I mean, you said everything I wanted to say, so I 100% agree with you. At 23, we have another trade. The Buffalo Bills come up from 30 to trade with Green Bay at 23. The Bills received the 23rd overall pick, and the Packers received the 30th overall pick, the 62nd overall pick, which is the second rounder, and the 173rd overall pick, which is the fifth rounder. That being said, the Buffalo Bills take Derek Harmon, D-tackle of Oregon. I'll let you talk more to me since this is your team. But I will say it makes sense. Buffalo needs another D-tackle to line up beside Ed Oliver. I really like Derek Harmon, so I do like this pick, and I think it makes sense for Buffalo to go this direction.
I think there's a chance Derek Harmon goes top 15. So if he's falling all the way to this point, I think they get on the phone immediately and try to make a deal happen to get him to Buffalo. He is exactly the piece that we need on that defensive line. He's a run stopper and can pass the run or rush. I don't know why I always say that. He can rush the passer.
Yeah.
He is the combination guy that you need next to a guy like Ed Oliver. And he's 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, that always helps.
So we've been having Daquan Jones start there. I do think there's a possibility if we were to trade up, it'd be for a corner. But in this case, I don't think there's a corner worth the trade up. I do think Derek Harmon is, though.
Yeah, like I said, I really do like that pick for you guys. And I think it's very realistic for them to do that in the actual draft on Thursday.
We have 10 picks.
Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely spend some to get. What I say when we did our Bills and Commanders mock drafts, if I'm the Bills, I want quality over quantity. You have the picks to have that luxury to be able to choose quality over quantity. And I think that's what they're going to do, and that's what we have them doing here.
Yep. Moving on to pick number 24, we have another trade.
That is right. The New York Giants are trading back into the first round to get their future quarterback. The Giants received the 24th overall pick. The Vikings received the 34th overall pick, which is obviously going to be second round this year, and the 99th overall pick, which is the third rounder this year. That being said, with the 24th overall pick, the New York Giants select Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. They need a quarterback. You have Russ, you have Jameis, not exactly your guys of the future. Trade back in the first round. Go get your guy that you're going to build around for the future.
You have 2/3. Use them.
Yeah.
You can't be, and I'll say this. I think them doing this might buy Daboll another year.
I could see the logic with
especially
that,
if they don't even start him this year.
Yeah, because that's a good
both
point,
those other guys are
it.
on 1-year deals.
Let's say hypothetically, it goes back. He doesn't play. You win 4 or 5 games. Maybe it's kind of like a JJ McCarthy situation where he kind of gets hurt, so you kind of can't play him.
Not to an extent of the Vikings last year.
Yeah,
like no injury or anything, but they do have Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
with a competent quarterback, might be able to do something. Look what Sam Darnold just did with Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to go on a run like they went on. Now, when it came time to the playoffs, they fell apart, and that's what everyone thought would happen. But let's say they do go on and win 6, 7, 8 games maybe. Sneak in as a wild card team maybe, and then you're in a position of like, okay, well, we built talent around this roster, and now we have this guy waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
They're not going to be inclined to fire Daboll
at
that point.
I agree. I just think there's a very good chance the Giants trade back into the first.
Especially having 2/3.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we kind of jump picks here, but go ahead. I'll let to keep the same track. You got 25.
Awesome. With the 25th overall pick, we have the Houston Texans trade away basically their entire offensive line. Gotta get your new offensive line. With the 25th overall pick, we have the Houston Texans taking Gray Zabel, offensive lineman out of North Dakota State. You can move him around. I personally would not put him at tackle.
I agree.
I like him a lot more as a guard or even a center. But regardless, very talented prospect, very promising prospect. I think he helps strengthen your offensive line significantly if you're Houston.
He needs to be a guy that goes in and plays right away.
Yes.
He needs to take the lumps.
Yes.
He's a guy like he's just
literally
never
throw him in the fire.
He's just never played against elite level talent.
You have to throw him in the fire.
And I agree with the guard synopsis of him.
Yeah.
But for the Texans' sake, why not start him out at tackle? Just try it. You have nothing to lose. And if he struggles, you move him inside.
I mean, you do have something to lose. He ends up sucking, your franchise quarterback gets hurt.
Fair point, but who is their left tackle? You don't even have to look it up. Can you name them?
No, you got to figure that out.
Exactly.
You
That's
gotta
what I mean.
Figure that out. And look, I'm not completely saying it's a no for me at Zabel at tackle. Let's do this. Play him at guard. If he's showing he has the physical attributes to be a tackle,
or if that
in
guy
the
that's
NFL,
playing tackle is struggling.
exactly. That's when you're like, all right, let's test this out. But I wouldn't necessarily be like, go play tackle.
Yeah, I
wanna
just think
see if you can be a guard.
I just think like we were talking about though, throwing them into the fire. If you start out at guard, in my opinion, it's a lot harder to play tackle in the NFL. No,
I would say so. Yeah.
if he gets very comfortable playing the guard position after 6 games, and then they're like, "Hey, we need to bump you out to tackle," and he struggles, that might regress his thing that he's already
And I'm not
progressed on.
saying don't give him reps at tackle. Absolutely, like he has the ability to move around that line. Absolutely, get him reps at tackle, get him reps at center, get him reps at guard. I'm simply saying go in with the mindset of he is our starting guard.
I agree. Moving on to pick number 26, we got the LA Rams. With this pick, we are going to have them selecting Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. If you would have said Tyler Warren was going to be the 26th pick, maybe even a month ago, people would have looked at you crazy. I just do not think there is a team in the first 25 picks that will tell you straight to your face they are going to take Tyler Warren over any of the guys we've already picked.
Yeah. And that was the difficult decision while we were doing this mock. We're seeing more Tyler Warren starting to slip a little. People aren't talking about him as much. And exactly to your point, look at our first 25 picks. Other than the Jets, possibly you cannot really name another team in those first 25 picks. I was like, yeah, take Warren over them.
He's a tight end. And I get a tight end has gone already. But like I said when we were making that pick, the Chargers are the exception, and they will probably take Loveland
It's
over
because
Tyler
of
Warren.
who their head coach is.
Exactly. But for the Rams case scenario, this is a seamless
Congratulations.
fit. You get a really, really solid player all the way down to 26. A guy that was projected to go in the top 7, top 10 for the past 6 months, basically.
Yeah.
So you're welcome. Which I honestly think could happen. This legitimately could happen. And I think people will kind of be surprised about it at first. And then once what we're talking about kind of right now, you realize it's a tight end and you're like, how much is he really? Is he really Brock Bowers? Is he a Kyle Pitts type of prospect? No.
No.
He's never been.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So 26, though, great value. And the Rams just continue to add to that offense that's already dynamic.
For sure. At 27, we have the Baltimore Ravens. We could have gone a few ways with this. They could go DB. They could go offensive line. For this one, we think they're going offensive line. For the 27th overall pick, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking Donovan Jackson, guard out of Ohio State. Now, like I said, there's a few different directions they could go. We just think the value that Donovan Jackson brings at 27 is better, more suited for the Ravens and their needs than the other prospects that are available.
Yeah. They could. It's not that they necessarily need a guard. They could upgrade their guard.
Absolutely.
And I think Donovan Jackson is more of an upgrade at that position than any of the other players they could take.
I agree. And they already took a DB in the first round last year. I just don't think they would go back-to-back years of taking corners.
Do I think they could take Malachi Starks?
Possibly.
Probably.
Possibly.
But I think the guard would help them a lot more.
Yes, I agree.
Moving on to pick number 28, we have the Detroit Lions, and with that pick, we're going to have them selecting Donovan Ezeraku, defensive end out of Boston College. Another kind of guy that was a late riser. I was switching around my letters.
Yeah.
He was a late riser. He is a speed rusher off the edge. Can't really set the run as well. But luckily for the Lions, you have a guy named Aiden Hutchinson that's going to be playing opposite of him. So it's okay.
No, this definitely seems like a Lions pick. Like you said, he's mainly just an edge rusher. But that's exactly what they need. They need a guy that's going to rush off the edge and get to the quarterback quick. That pairs up well with Aiden Hutchinson, and that's exactly what you get with Donovan Ezeraku.
He has an advanced pass rush bag. Like he shows a lot of different pass rush
It's
moves.
better than average. Yeah.
Yes. And of how quick he is to get around the edge. Like he's just a speed rusher.
At 29, we have my Washington Commanders. With the 29th overall pick, we have the Commanders taking Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. I'm just saying, if this happens in real life, I'm doing backflips in my living room. This is a great pick for Washington, who desperately need help on that defensive side and need to upgrade at safety. You get an extremely talented safety at 29 in Malachi Starks. This is a great pick for Washington.
Value pick.
Yeah.
Like best player available, take him.
Yeah.
Moving on to pick number 30, we got the Green Bay Packers after trading back with the Buffalo Bills. We are going to have them selecting Trey Amos, corner out of Ole Miss. We've done a couple mock drafts before we finally set on this one being our final one.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple of them, we had Trey Amos going 23 to the Packers. So for them to trade back and still be able to get the guy that they might want to take at 23, awesome value for them. Great corner. I'm a huge
I
Trey
like Trey
Amos
Amos
fan.
a lot, man.
So
he's a dog.
That's a great pick for the Packers, and you gain future capital.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. At 31, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. No secret, they need offensive line. It was atrocious in the Super Bowl. They need to upgrade badly. At 31, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle out of Oregon. Like I said, it was atrocious at the Super Bowl for them. You get a guy with high potential that upgrades your offensive line on day one to help protect Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, he is a guy that could probably be a plug-and-play player. He's still not as big as I'd like him to be, but very athletic, can pull, can kick step very well, very fast to the point of attack. Like, I would be mad because he could fix that problem for them on the offensive line.
On day one, yeah.
And then with the final pick, we're going to have the Philadelphia Eagles selecting Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. And I feel like as mad as I would be if the Chiefs took Josh Connerly at 31, you would be 10 times madder if the Eagles take your guy, Emeka Egbuka, at 32.
You know how I feel, one about Egbuka and one about Philly. I've been very vocal. Me personally, think Egbuka's the second best receiver in the class. Some people agree, some people disagree. It is what it is. You can't argue that you just gave Philly, who has 1,000 Rolls Royces, another Rolls Royce. Like,
He's going to go in there and be their third receiver.
which is insane. Like, with how talented he is, for them to get another weapon like Egbuka, that just falls to them.
Now, call me crazy. If this were to happen, and like I just said, he'd be their third receiver,
Yeah.
I think he'd lead the league in lead the team in targets. because of the other two that are already there.
I see your logic. Like the
He's
defense,
going to have the third worst corner on him, or
Yeah.
third best corner.
Yeah. No, I
Easy.
get the logic for sure. Yeah, that's our mock. We are 2 days away.
Yep.
We're here. Is there a guy we have that you think would be a steal of the draft?
I mean, the easy answer is Tyler Warren, I think.
That's a good one.
Just because he is and was projected to be a top 10 pick for a long time. And he goes to a team that just always gets the best value out of an offensive player, especially with a dynamic player like a Tyler Warren. I think he could be a home run.
Absolutely. I think that's a good one. I want to say Malachi, but I won't because that's my own team, even though I do think that would be a really good steal.
Also, I think Michael.
Michael was going to be mine.
I think
That's not
Michael
Malachi. He's
should
so good.
be a top 10 pick
He's
without a
so
question.
Good. Absolutely. That was going to be my choice since I'm not going to say Malachi.
And that's still insane to me. Even now, like mock drafts that came out this morning, they'll have him going in the mid-20s. I don't understand it.
I agree.
I just don't get it.
I completely agree. Is there anything you would like to say? This is our final episode before the big day. Is there anything you would like to say? Because our next episode is literally just going to be us reacting to what happens over the next few days. So is there anything you would like to say before?
Just remember,
this happens?
after you finish watching this video, to come back after the draft to look to see that we got all the picks right. Because
Yeah,
we're
facts.
showing you the draft before it happens.
Yeah.
So we're here to tell you we told you so.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No.
Just come back. I promise. Bookmark this video after the draft is over, or after the first round is over at least. Come back. It's all these picks.
Dream scenario. Quick answer, dream scenario.
This is pretty close to it
Okay, but I'm saying like
Okay.
let's stay at 30, dream scenario.
for the Bills.
Who are the Bills taking? Absolute dream scenario that's still realistic.
Dream scenario. I have two answers. Because
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. When you're this late, there's multiple
I think
answers.
to me,
I
we're
have
going
multiple
corner or D tackle. That is my guess
Mm-hmm.
and my prediction. Corner, Trey Amos.
Great pick.
D tackle, Kenneth Grant.
Okay. I'm a bigger fan of Trey Amos, but all right. Sounds good.
How about you?
The guy we got, Malachi or Michael. I highly doubt Michael slides to 29.
After we just sat here and said
But-
that he's
but
going to be
just
a
like
top
you-
10 pick.
But just like you said, there are mocks out there where he has fallen.
Yeah, I just think those are people that have no idea what they're talking about.
I agree. I highly, highly, highly doubt Michael falls to 29. I'm just simply... Dude, I've seen mocks where he's there at 29 and
Oh, I
Washington
know.
doesn't take him.
Mm-hmm.
And I get pissed.
Yeah.
And it's not even a real draft. I'm like, why? Like, why would you do that?
There was one I saw earlier today that had us take Siobhan Ravel. Chiefs went Kenneth Grant. Eagles went Emeka Buka.
Yeah.
And we took Siobhan Ravel. A guy that's 24 years old coming off of an ACL tear.
Yeah. But that, like, absolute dream scenario. Give me Malachi Starks or give me Michael Williams. I think the higher likely chance is Malachi Starks. That would be my dream scenario.
Nightmare scenario.
I mean, we were talking about right before we started filming. There's been a lot of talks that Washington is in love with Carson Schlesinger. No shade towards him at
Yeah.
all.
He's a second round pick.
Yeah, I would talk myself into it because I trust Adam Peters, but that would be a very painful talking to for me. Your nightmare scenario.
We go receiver.
Is there a specific receiver? Just receiver.
I would be mad if we went receiver in general.
Okay.
There's no reason we should go receiver. We took Keon for the first pick in the second round last year.
Good point.
And if we go back to back receiver in the draft, doesn't look very good. Because
I
that
get
means
you.
your guy didn't hit. And you're only giving him one season to be like, okay, yeah, we need to get somebody better.
Fair
You're
point.
giving up after, you're not giving up on him, but basically after one season, you can't do
No,
that.
I get you for sure. All right. Well, that does it for us. We are super excited for Thursday and also day 2 and 3. I mean, it's the best time of year.
Let us know what picks you think are right, what picks are wrong, who is your team and who do you want that team to pick.
Absolutely. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to our channel, follow us at PM Football Pod on Twitter. Also follow us on TikTok at
If
PM
you post some
Football Podcast.
videos on TikTok.
I don't post the mocks.
I'm just kidding.
But I will post some of the video you just posted today of last week's video. So that will be on TikTok shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. We will see you next week when we talk about everything that happens over these next few days.
Let's hope our teams get the guys we want.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.